Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of the House of Moody Vintage podcast. And this podcast is brought to you by the House of the Dragons. I'm just kidding. It's not. I wish it was. The House of the Dragon, which we will dive into. What an episode this past Sunday, huh? Oh my God, it keeps getting better. That's episode 5. We're halfway done. We're moving on to the second phase, the latter half of the season. I'm really excited to talk about that. We will get to that in a bit. And a couple of other things. I also have my recommendation of the week, which is interesting. I haven't finished it yet, so maybe I shouldn't recommend it. I don't know. We'll get to that as well. But that's also exciting. Some good stuff. Start of a new, well, I don't want to, it's not technically not a start of a new week. That was yesterday, which was a Monday. And a lot of things happened over the weekend. I had a chill weekend. Somewhat was chill. There was also a dispute, which was taken care of. Challenging, but taken care of. Nothing serious, I don't think. It's just a quarrel between, loved ones. And, we get into other people's, you will tend to sort of butt heads from time to time, Again, nothing that serious to where, a relationship was shattered and, bridges were burned. I haven't had that in a while. So, and you know what? I don't mind doing that. Again, I've said this so many times, dude, my threshold for bullshit is very low, but fortunately this wasn't like, it wasn't bullshit. It was an actual sort of topic that I got into a discussion with a very close friend of mine. But I love her to death. Anyways. But apart from that, the weekend was relatively chill. I passed on a couple of hangouts that I'm not feeling bad at all about it. And it's, I can't even say regret because I've said it so many times, again, I keep repeating this, but I've never lived my life with regrets. So me skipping out on something is like, okay, whatever, cool. I'm cool with it. I'm not missing out. I've never had FOMO. So that's not a thing for me, for the millennials out there who don't know what that means, bruh. Because, I'm a millennial myself, but Gen Z, what's up. What FOMO is all about. I know you guys don't use that term anymore, but, some of us still have it. I don't. Fear of missing out. I'm totally fine. I'm totally cool with it. But, it was a really super duper lazy, sort of chilled, relaxed, because I was, usually what happens is like by Friday, I'm just like ridiculously tired. And then, look forward to the weekend. We're partying and, but that's not every weekend, like this weekend, I look forward to just, with hanging out with the usual suspects and going out to a nice dinner and having drinks and, just getting lit, you know what I mean? But also, opportunities, to take advantage of, and hopefully, I can't speak too much on it or about it. But hopefully it's a good sign. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm not superstitious, but just positive vibes out into the universe, manifest and all that good stuff. And if you pray, you pray. Whatever works for you, do your thing. I'm just excited to look forward to the weekend, because let's just say I'm confident about a certain opportunity. So let's hope that works out. Okay. But I had an okay start to the week, it was just like a regular scheduled, busy day, a busy Monday, a really busy Monday. And now it's sort of like, we're going right into the hump day, right? Midweek almost. Nearly midweek. Tuesday over here is almost done. But dude, there was something that I had some other things to talk about, but then this sort of like superseded it because it was very interesting and it was very intriguing to me. It's something that I saw on Instagram and I was going through my, usual feed and, one of my favorite, people to follow on social media is, Lil Duval, Lil Duval, the comedian, and actor, and musician. He's a rapper or a singer, he does his music. But Lil Duval had this post, and he's always putting up hilarious as funny shit. Definitely not, sometimes not politically correct stuff. He's been kicked off of Instagram so many times, but he's come back with a vengeance. But he's hilarious. So, but he also puts out very thought provoking things. And one of the ones that I saw today, a post today, and it's very simple. Like the concept is very simple, but it was thought provoking to me because he said, I forgot what the real quote was that he was sharing, but he was basically sharing a conversation he had with a certain somebody, and they had asked him, how many real relationships have you been in your life, in your entire life? Now, so his response was, Lil Duval's response was, he's 45 years old, and he said that I've had 7 relationships, like real relationships. But to him, according to him, and I'm assuming this is what he meant by saying this, that if he's in a real relationship to him is someone that he stayed with. So I'm assuming he's saying that, someone that he's not only had, an intimate connection with a woman, but also lived with said woman, right? So he's had 7 relationships. So it really got me thinking. I'm like, wow, okay. Now he's 45. He's had 7 quote unquote real relationships. So I thought to myself, I'm like, well, what does that mean really? Like, it feels like there is no unified, agreed upon definition of what a relationship is, right? You can go broader and say a relationship can be, it could be intimate, it could be romantic, it could be with your friends. You have a relationship, with your friends. There's various relationships you have in your life, the relationships that you have with your family, with your friends, with your significant others, so on and so on. So it got me thinking, if we're going by Lil Duval's, definition of what a relationship is, and I'm thinking like, damn, I'm 37, right? So I'm like 8 years younger than Lil Duval, but I'm thinking, damn, I'm 37, and according to him, I've never had a real relationship, like lived with somebody. I mean, I've had exes like come over, spend the night at my place. Sure. I mean, a lot of people have done that, right? And to them, that's a relationship, where certain individuals have their own places, their own homes, or, that they stay at. And, just sort of go back and forth to each other's places, hang out at each other's places, spend time and stay over kind of thing. I've had that, but I don't know. Would you guys, I'm curious now. I should probably ask this on a poll or something on Instagram, but I'm curious now. Like, I thought the consensus or general meaning of how people approach relationships is it doesn't necessarily have to be living with someone. Because he's saying real relationships, right? Like one step before, I don't know, marriage maybe, right? But if you took that out of the equation, if you took the living together out of the equation, which a lot of people do, and that in itself is a relationship. You have a relation, you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but you don't necessarily live with each other. Some do, of course. They share an apartment or share a house or whatever it is, and that's a serious commitment, right? That's a huge serious commitment. So to me, it's like, well, again, if I take that out of the equation, I've had like 7, not 7 relationships. I've had like 7 girlfriends, if that's safe to say. So 7 relationships, but real relationships, I don't know, maybe 3. So 3 out of the 7 that were actually like real, solid, heavily emotionally invested, investing time, not just emotions, but time and effort and all that stuff in a relationship. So I would say I had 3 long, like relationship that went past 2 months or 2.5 months, a relationship that I've had. Yes, I know I have this weird, I used to think that I had commitment issues. That's not the case. I just, like I said, my threshold for bullshit is like, it's just gradually gone down more and more and more. I've been in relationships where it was on and off for a couple of years, those kind of things. Certain circumstances may have taken over, the relationship, and that's ended it. And it hasn't lasted that long, right? It could be for 2 months, 3 months, whatever. But I'm very, very glad that I have a very good relationship or friendship with my exes, you know? So, you know, it's not to the point where, oh my God, we were in a relationship, we were heavily invested in the relationship, and then we broke up, and then that was the end of it. We don't see each other. We've burned bridges or whatever. It wasn't like that. It was just like, you know, who I think personally, how adults should go on about, you know, dealing with people after you've broken up or after that chapter of your life is over. You know, you move on. It's kind of the, you know, I guess it's the adult thing to do. But anyways, so I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, well, take that out of the equation. I'm 37. I've only been in real relationships, 3 that have not necessarily ended the most ideal way, but like my other relationships, out of the 7 or 8, I can't even. I'm not going to count them right now. It's ridiculous. Well, I mean, but it is a topic to think about, right? Because it's like, well, what would you consider to be a relationship? And nowadays, it's just all over I mean, I don't know. It's not an age thing. I don't think it's an age thing at all. I think it's just the culture and society nowadays. You know, if you live in let's say, for example, a metropolitan area, you know, a very modern type of area, you're middle class, high middle class, or whatever, and your approach to relationships are much different than the generation before, maybe the generation that I come from or generations before that. Where if you're single at my age, it's very difficult to meet people. It's to connect, really, not meeting people, but to actually connect with someone that you're on the same wavelength as, the same page. You don't necessarily have to have everything in common. Of course not. I think if you did have everything in common, personally, it may work for other people, but personally for me, I think that's fucking boring. You know what I mean? Like, if you have everything in common, you may have a lot of things in common, which is good. You know, that kind of helps the situation. And it also helps sort of like bring balance to it, because you're trying to get to know this individual, and you may it might be a potential of, you know, going further in the relationship. And so, you know, so with that said, you know, dating nowadays, whatever, I've never dated, so I can't really speak on that. Dating in the traditional sense, right? That's not me. I don't do it. I mean, I do relationships. But, you know, according to Lil Duval, and I'm not saying that his perspective of relationships is the, you know, that's the definitive sort of, you know, the actual definition of being in a real relationship. But, you know, that's just his dynamic. That's just his formula of doing things. But so for me, it's like, damn, like I've never, you know, at 37, I've never lived with my significant other. And I have so many friends. And of course, you know, my exes have moved on. They've gotten married, you know, either have kids or they're in a relationship right now where they're actually living with that person. So I don't know how I mean, you know, they've done it. They've had practice or something, or they've been able to do that in this stage of their lives. And that's cool. I have no problem with that. I just haven't found I haven't been in a relationship where that has gotten me to that next stage, or the circumstances have led me to that stage. And I don't know when it's going to happen. And I've talked about this before about, you know, it's not me being vulnerable and stuff like that, but in the sense that I have no problem with that. Like, I'm like hella ready for that. Maybe because I have seen a lot, I've been through a lot, you know, when it comes to dealing with people, dealing with relationships and so on. You know, but I guess by Lil Duval's measurements, you know, or how he sees relationships, that would probably be my first actual. I feel like if I moved in with somebody, that's because I've never done it before. If I did that, moved in with somebody, like split everything, you know, went halvesies, that would be like, yo, I'm marrying this girl. You know what I mean? And obviously I would discuss it beforehand. These are things that you talk about, you know, before actually jumping and diving into a relationship. But, yeah, I feel like that would be it. Like, cause I'm not against, seeing new people, or I just don't like the word dating. I don't know why. I'm a commitment guy, or like putting it all in. I've said this so many times before. I wear my heart on my sleeves, so I'm like heavily invested. I'm emotionally. That's just me, and I'm hopeless. I'm a hopeless romantic. People know this. My friends know this. Who are trying to hook me up at a fucking club like dummies. Hello, I am never gonna hook up with a girl at the club. I'm a hopeless romantic. They know this. They're frustrated. Okay, some of my friends are frustrated. Like, come on, man, you need to hoe out. I'm like, I've done that in my early 20s, not even late teens. And that wasn't even hoeing because I got in a relationship. I would just jump from one relationship to another. That's just your boy. That's how we do it. And then, sometimes I just turn into a monk. Not be in a relationship from the years of 20 years old to 31. I was single for 11 years. I know. What? Yes, I was a monk. Just kidding. I wasn't a monk, but celibacy, that was my thing. Commitment. Yeah. It wasn't by choice. It was just by circumstance, bro. Like, that was a decade of, it was a very difficult decade. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, just that post just got me thinking. It was hilarious. Just thinking about it, like, cause I've never been in that type of relationship, like that is next level. And if it is, I'm moving in, man, girl, you best get ready. Cause I'm going to get on one knee and then I'm going to get on two knees and then what's going to fall. Okay. That's nasty. I'm sorry. It's been a while. It's been a while. Anyways, so with that said, I thought it was just something to really think about. Like, how many real relationships have you been in? Think about it yourself. How many real relationships have you been in? Real ones, And just because you've had less or fewer than others, that's not the point. The point is, like, those are the ones that probably could have taken you to the next step, right? Of marriage, or, have kids or whatever, have a family and stuff. Anyways, talking about family, I saw another post today, a little interesting stat. Before we get into the review here, I want to really talk about this as well. 4.1 billion people watched Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. What? What are you talking about? 4.1. What is this, the World Cup? Yeah. Okay, so listening to this, or if you're watching this on YouTube, my reaction to that, right? It's not a favorable one because I was definitely not that one of 4.1 billion people who apparently watched the funeral. I'm like, oh, are you guys hate watching it? Like, I don't understand. Or are you guys like actual fans, or you just want to see the drama? Oh my God, what's Meghan gonna do? What's Meghan gonna wear? Or what's Harry gonna do? What is he wearing? And this, of course, that that was like the post-event, topics to talk about, right? But it's baffling to me. I don't know. Maybe it's because The Crown on Netflix was such a hit show, and yeah, I like that show too. I like being entertained. It's an entertaining show. It takes creative liberties in real life of real life events. I know that, and it's going to be very interesting to see the future seasons of The Crown. But yeah, I just don't understand the fascination. I don't know. Maybe because it just how I grew up in the environment that I grew up in. But it always baffled me that Americans were obsessed with the royal family. Like, why? Like, do y'all know? Like, I'm talking about Americans, like not like stereotypical down south, Southern state Americans. I'm just overall, generally speaking, right? Why would you be? Maybe it's just for the entertainment value. Okay, I get it, I understand, but what is this? Like, it's not an obsession. I wouldn't say necessarily an obsession, but people have this like weird. I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. This weird interest. It's intriguing for some reason. The royal family. Like, y'all know how America was made, right? Like, they wanted to escape the tyranny of the monarchy, of England. I don't know. That's crazy to me. The Queen's dead. I mean, God rest her soul. But this royal family, including the queen, they did a lot of shady shit. That's all I'm gonna talk about it. You guys have seen it. I don't need to tell you this. This is nothing new. You guys have seen the documentaries. You guys seen the shows and da da da. There's abundance of facts, actual facts, that are shady as fuck. But yet, I don't know. I feel like half of 4.1 billion people who watched it they just wanted to see some drama, They're like, oh my God, what's gonna happen in this funeral? Yo, man, is Harry gonna show up? Meghan gonna show up? There's gonna be some drama. I know what you guys were looking for. You guys were looking for an episode of Game of Thrones. Or, within this context, an episode in the House of the Dragon. Okay? You want to see some Targaryen drama. That's what y'all wanted to see, which is a great segue. Let's move right into it. No, but my initial response to the 4.1 billion, whatever, it's ludicrous. First of all, it's insane. And like I said, it's not like people watching the freaking World Cup. I mean, my God. I felt like Roy Keane, Manchester United legend. I felt like Roy Keane when I read that stat. I was just like, for fuck's sake, do me a favor. That's how I felt. Just do me a favor. 4.1 billion for what? You spend all this time watching TV on a funeral. For fuck's sake. That is not my Roy Keane impersonation. But I was channeling my inner Roy Keane, is what I'm saying. Anyways, so let's move in from one royal family to another one. House of the Dragon, episode 5, ladies and gentlemen, was off the heezy for cheesy. So it was it was episode 5, and we watched what did we watch? Episode 5. The episode name was, of course, We Light the Way, and that was a shout out to the Hightowers because Allison Hightower ain't playing no more, girl. Okay, before I get into this, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. I'm kind of heartbroken because we're not going to see them anymore. We're not going to see the two incredibly young, talented actresses, Emily Carey, Alison Hightower, who's my favorite. I am incredibly taken by her. She is so fantastic in this role as Alison Hightower. And of course the Queen of Westeros. And Millie Alcock. These two, I know. I sound like a broken record. I've talked about them before so many damn times. But you guys, I mean, come on, y'all gotta agree. I mean, you don't have to agree, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, their presence, their performances has been so damn good. And it just sucks. It's bittersweet. Because sweetness in the sense that in the next episode, in episode 6, we jump 10 years into the future. A decade has passed. The older actresses come in. Of course, they play their roles. Emma Darcy and Olivia Cook. Olivia Cook plays as Alison Hightower. Emma as Rhaenyra Targaryen, the older version. And, hopefully they sort of continue that chemistry that we've seen in episode 1 through 5, first half of the season. And they carry it on to the next season, And the Dance of the Dragons is not going to take place this season. It's going to be probably second half of season 2, maybe. Again, they've only planned out, I think, up to 4 seasons, and that's it. I believe that is the plan, if I remember correctly. But another thing is like, yeah, I'm bummed, dude. I'm really bummed. These two were, they were fantastic, But I'm saying, like, obviously this is going to be a sort of a springboard for them to, get different roles out there, do films and do other television shows or whatever. But I just love seeing these two in those two characters, Emily as Alicent, and Millie as Rhaenyra. They're just amazing. These two have been fantastic. They've blown me away. I think they're like the real winners of the series, and so far. And but Emily Carey, to me, I love her. I've become a huge fan. I think in the latter episodes she has really, really just put the character to the forefront, and because there's a lot of moving pieces, right? And we see that in this episode, a lot of moving pieces in Westeros, politically, and of course, basically the not so, I guess, blatant fight for the crown of, or for the Iron Throne, right? So. And so what do we see in episode 5, right? There's a lot to discuss, but just to briefly go through here without taking too much time, we saw, of course, the only, again, this is spoilers, so please be careful if you haven't seen it yet. Apologize, but fast forward. I'm sorry. And I mean, every time I discuss it is spoilers, so you shouldn't be surprised by now. So we see the first, okay, so the show basically opens up when, not Daenerys, wow, I just went blank. Daemon Targaryen, he's at the Vale, right, of House Aaron. He meets up his wife, doesn't say a fucking word, meets up with his wife. We don't know who this young lady is, and she is Lady Rhea Royce, right? Lady Rhea Royce, or is it Rhea or Rhea? I think it's Rhea. I think it's Rhea. So Lady Rhea Royce, this, and Damon made it out sounded like, he made her sound like this, I don't know, fucking ogre, like this not cool, lame ass chick. Wrong, totally opposite. Okay, Rhea Royce is a badass, and she's pretty. I think she's pretty. She's pretty. She's a badass. She's just, she don't give a fuck about Daemon Targaryen. She was like, homeboy, what is you doing here? Oh, your deadbeat ass back here. Your deadbeat ass back in the Vale. Like, what you want? She's on her horse, on her ride, looking all badass and stuff. Just came back from hunting or something. And of course, homeboy instigates and provocates and, basically, unsettles the horse that she's on. She falls off the horse, basically breaks her back, and she's laying there paralyzed, and she's still taking jabs at him like, you ain't shit, Damon, you ain't shit. I fell off my damn horse, but guess what, homeboy, you ain't shit, and you still can't finish. Okay, that's how she did. I'm sorry, I just had to. It's that Game of Thrones thing, right? It's that Westeros thing. You like, oh my god, I love this character. Oh my god, why did I love this character? Because now she's dead. And we saw this season 1 of Game of Thrones, Ned Stark. We were like, yeah, dude, he's the hero. And then we're like, okay, maybe he's not the hero. All right, we're mistaken. So yeah, Lady Rhea Royce, man, it was like a glimpse. It just went by like that. I was so not disappointed, but because that's what you expect in Westeros, right? Whether it's Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. She was awesome. I thought Rhea Royce was awesome. But anyways, shout out to Rhea Royce. Man, I just wish she hung around a little bit. But you got murdered by your ungrateful piece of shit husband, asshole. See, I said this earlier. After I had instant reaction kind of thing after the episode on Instagram, and I basically said, remember when I said Damon was nasty? Now he's fucking evil now. You evil piece of shit. Okay? I don't like you anymore, mate. I don't like you at all. Anyway, so we move on from there. Otto Hightower, of course, he leaves King's Landing. Homeboy got fired. Listen, Otto Hightower, I think he's one of those characters, like maybe a couple of others, who really wants to do good. Like, he wants to do what is good for the realm, right? I mean, yes, he has his agendas and things like that, but he means well, like in the sense that he thinks what he's doing is right, what's best for the kingdom, or for Westeros. And so, yeah, and then of course, before he leaves, he, gives a very, very, very honest advice to his daughter, Alicent Hightower. It's like, yo, listen, man, you may not like this, but Rhaenyra is going to she's going to want that throne, and she's going to, even though she may not want to, she probably gonna end up killing your kids, like who do we see her Allison's kids, and she has more than 2 kids now. They're just gonna pop out of her. In the next episode, you see with her, she's got a lot more kids. So does Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra has kids of her own, and then we move on to King Viserys. He goes up to Driftmark and visits Corlys Velaryon, and he's being a dick about it. He's got some balls. Being a little rude to Mr. Kingsley. And King Viserys is just being, the guy's decaying, he's dying, and he's still trying to be nice to everyone. He's still trying to do the right thing. He's a good person. He's a good dude. It's just that, there's so much, unsettling elements around him that is just trying to disturb the peace. You know what I mean? And he's questioning himself. He's like, have I been a good king? Have I been or even if I've been, been a good father, right? And Rhaenyra's doing her thing as a young, ambitious girl who may or may not have been influenced by her uncle Daemon Targaryen, and it's just bringing a lot more, an unsettling sort of tone and environment for King Viserys and everyone else, really, right? And then of course we saw the very très sexy and handsome Sir Criston Cole. Criston has poor guy. He's a knight just trying to do what his queen wants, but I'm not sure if you want to call it love, if he was in love with or is in love with the princess. Sorry, my blank there. Wow. My thought, I'm sorry, I wanted to say Rhaenyra, but I just sort of jumped ahead, fast forward in my mind, because I'm just really excited thinking now that we're going to fast forward 10 years into the future, how is the dynamics now? Now that the 2 girls are older, the queen is, Alicent is an older mother, right? And she's been a queen for the past, how many, 10, 11 years now. And I want to see the power dynamics now between the 2, because it's they've sort of grown into that position. So you sort of expect it to be something that's more volatile, right? Because as you get older, it's different. That you've lost your innocence, you've lost your naivete, and now you're playing the game. Now you're playing the Game of Thrones, right? So anyway, so it's all fucked up for King Viserys, and he's just trying to be a good dude. And of course, he has a new hand of the king and Lord Lionel Strong. There's puzzle pieces moving there as well. We don't know what's gonna happen there, because they basically step up. The Strong family basically step up and sort of get closer to the king, get closer to the throne, and we see his sons play a little bit of the role here and there, trying to put some spice in the pot, just to see what's up. And he, of course, Lionel Strong's son, I forgot the limp, the dude with the limp, the one with the crutch, right? He's spilling crap into Alicent's ears, and he tells him about the tea that Rhaenyra was given by the Grand Maester, and Alicent finds out that Rhaenyra was being untruthful with her and hiding things with her, and she's trying to get away with things and stuff like that. So, and she, of course, we saw Alicent confronting. Well, not necessarily confronting. She wanted to know the truth from Sir Criston Cole, and Sir Criston's dumbass. He's like, "Oh shit, it was me. I did it. Rhaenyra and I got it on. And that of course shocks. It shocks Alicent. She's like, "What the fuck? I thought I'm here was trying to figure out what's going on between her and her uncle, but okay, y'all did it." And of course, that leads to another wedding in Westeros, which was very exciting and fun. Wasn't that fun, guys? What was that going on? I was so excited for the wedding. I was having a really good time. So, so, and of course he beats the shit out of, homeboy's boyfriend, who also happens to be named Joffrey. It was a very funny comment today when I was watching one of the after shows. Someone said that weddings 2, Joffrey 0. I was gonna say nil, because that's the British way to doing it. So weddings 2, Joffrey 0. And that was funny. It was pretty funny because Joffrey and weddings. If your name's Joffrey, stay away. Okay, if you're in Westeros, you're in King's Landing, stay away from any goddamn weddings. If your name's Joffrey, you will die, and you will die a gruesome death. Okay, and man, dude, Sir Kristen laid it in on him, beat him to a bloody pulp, broke his face, literally broke his face like a melon. Okay, like a watermelon. Shit was just all over the place. He lost his. He went crazy. Anyways, but that's because he was trying to like assume certain things and saying, hey, we both know each other's secrets. So it's kind of like he was trying to blackmail him basically. I know what you did with the queen. You're the queen's paramour and all that stuff. And and Kristen just lost his shit. He just lost his shit. He's like, oh hell no, because he's basically been let go by the woman he made love with or is possibly in love with. And, he's really not, and he's sworn to protect her and that kind of thing. So I think all of that just boiled up, and it was just, that entire scene, the whole wedding was basically, even the episode, but of course it led up to the wedding. And it was something that Christian Harloff said very well. And I thought it was like just beautifully put, and even though it was as simple as put, he was just saying that the banquet hall, right? It was just like a huge oven. It was a huge oven. Someone left the goddamn oven on. The fuel is there, and just waiting for someone to just light the match and toss it in there. And that's what it was. That's what happened. And the music helped too. The music was such a huge character in that sequence that led to that. And of course, Allison comes in her green dress, in her emerald green dress, representing, House Hightower, and kind of like drawing the lines, like, yo, shit's about to get real. I've chosen my side. This is my allegiance, sort of like, just putting it out there. And I'm just excited to see what's going to happen next. I know we're fast forwarding 10 years into the future. Laenor and Rhaenyra get married at the end of the episode, of course. So we want to see where that goes. And of course, but her kids don't have the beautiful Targaryen silver white hair, right? So those may be Sir Kristen Cole's kid. I don't know. We'll find out. He does not look himself in the 10 years into the future. He doesn't look well. Let me just put it that way. And there's going to be dragons, of course. We're going to see more dragons, but again, we're not going to see any of that. We're not going to see any of that, Dance of Dragons until season 2. So that's quite a bit of a distance from here. What else? I think that's sort of like the highlights, right? Of we're going to see the it's a wrap up for Millie Alcock as Rhaenyra, Emily Carey as Alicent. Some of the other younger characters, actors are going to be replaced by the older ones. Let's see. So the Kristen and Joffrey incident where he beats his face in the books, it's Joffrey's death comes in a joust. And so I also wanted to really highlight that really quick before we wrap things up here. So a lot of the stuff that you see in the book, these are written by sort of unverified, not necessarily untrusted, but unverified authors, right? It's kind of like a storybook. And what we're seeing transpiring on screen is probably the real accounts that it's happened. So you have to keep in mind that Fire and Blood is written like a history book, right? It's been written by various authors, various accounts from people, and written by I forgot who the Grand Maester was who wrote the histories of the Targaryens. But yeah, so what we're basically seeing on screen are the actual real like accounts of what's happening. So that's why, some of the stuff is different from the books. And I think it's just sort of an ingenious way of doing things, and it keeps the viewers, on their toes. It doesn't matter if you're a reader or not. This is what's happening. This is what probably actually happened in their history of the Targaryen household. Yeah. So shit, man. Shout out to Rhea Royce. You a baddie. You a real one. Damn. You only got like 5 minutes. Was it 5 minutes? I don't even know. It was 5 minutes of screen time. But miss you, boo boo. I wish you were around more. Yeah, dude, we're gonna see what's gonna happen next. Anyways, that pretty much wraps it up. Just quickly, just wanted recommend of the week. There is a show on Netflix. It's a Norwegian show, and it's called the Lawrence Cog Disappearance. That's the English title. It's about a billionaire's wife. She vanishes. The Norwegian police now has to unravel the history, or unravel the crime or the disappearance, this mystery. Have to deal with the press and deceitful information and so on, and shady ass characters. This is based on real life events that actually happened in Norway, and they've obviously took slight liberties here and there. The case is still ongoing in real life, so I've heard that while the show starts off well, it's a mini series. It starts off well. It kind of leaves off, kind of fizzles down. It's not that great because there's no wrap up to it. Because in real time right now in the world, the investigation is still ongoing. So we don't have a conclusion per se. But I think it's well written. It's basically the way they approached it, and because of the fact that it's real life, it adds a bit more sort of drama to it and urgency to it. But it is your solid, Scandinavian, noir kind of filmmaking signature, right? Like Scandinavians are so good at it, at the thriller, at the crime thriller, and it's just I think it's just a solid watch. It's a good watch. So if you're wanting to watch something on Netflix, go for it. It is Norwegian, which you gotta read the subtitles. Sorry for actually using your brain, you morons. You're so lazy. Just read it. All right, these are good shows you're missing out on. God damn it. And the lead actress, Ingvild Stoen Grotmol. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I apologize. Ingvild. Ingvild is I think she's fantastic. She is she's stunning. She's stunning and sexy, and oh my god. I mean, smoke show. Okay, hot. Okay. And I'm not just talking about like there's certain people that it's not just about the physical attributes, it's not about the facial features or their figure or the way they dress or whatever. It's just sometimes there are people out there who carry themselves so goddamn well, it is incredibly sexy. Men and women, it doesn't matter who it is or what the gender is. There are individuals out there who carry themselves, which is equally sexy. It's just incredibly attractive, and she happens to be one of them. Ingvild, huge fan. Besides the point, that's way besides the point. But great performances, and it's just well done. But I think again, because of the fact that the real life events, the investigation is continuing, it kind of fizzles down. But I would still recommend it if you're looking for something that's and if you're into the whole Scandinavian crime thriller thing. It's I think it's a good watch. It's done okay. It's done well. So check that out. Now, with that said, I think that pretty much sums it up here. Looking at my show notes. Yeah, I'd recommend. Yeah. No, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Looking forward to this week, the next episode of Lord of the Rings. I don't know. Episode 4 didn't really do it for me, so I'm kind of man. I don't want to say I'm disappointed, but I expect more from Middle Earth. Let me just put it that way. So hopefully the next episode's a little bit better. I wasn't really excited about the last one. I enjoyed it, but again, House of the Dragon is just, I think, at a whole nother level right now if you want to compare the two. But yeah, looking forward to that. And Andor is coming out. So super excited. Huge buzz around that. Critically, everyone's raving about it. Can't wait for that. Star Wars is back, baby. So I'm really excited to watch Andor. She-Hulk is okay. It's like it's entertaining, but it's not something that I honestly would not recommend people to watch. Like, you're not missing out on anything, but it is a fun watch. She-Hulk is a fun watch. It's just too, I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. It's not great. For me, it's not great. And I think that's the consensus right now so far. So it's fun to watch. Wouldn't really recommend it, and you wouldn't really be missing anything. Anyways, man, I talked a lot today. So apologies. That wraps it up here. Another episode. It's episode 29. I was going to say House of the Dragon. House of Moody Vintage podcast. I appreciate your support. I love that you guys are like interacting with me on Instagram and the video clips that I put out. If you're watching on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Thank you for listening. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I will be back for episode 30 next week, as usual. Same bat channel, same bat time. All right? I'm out this piece. Peace out.